Hey, how about you, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Live Recruiting Show. I'm your host, Jeffrey Lee, Senior Recruiting Editor for Auburn Live on 3. Today is Wednesday, June the 5th, 2024. For you, it's Tuesday night, June 4th, 2024 for us. Keep that in mind moving forward with any today's, yesterday's, or tomorrow's. We have a fantastic show for you today. I know it's going to be fantastic because we've got questions from the corner. We've just wrapped up an unbelievable recruiting weekend for the Auburn Tigers, and we've got another one coming up in the next few days. We'll get to all of that and more. Here to help me talk to you, answer your questions, address any comments you might have, Mr. Cole Pinkston, Mr. Allen Head. How about you, fellas?
How about you?
How about you, big dog?
Oh, okay. All right. I like it. Everybody seems to be on higher spirits tonight.
Yes.
Had a good weekend. Listen, we're going to talk to you about it all, and we're going to get to some questions. But before I forget, embarrassing like I did Sunday night on the call-in show, let's not forget who makes this all possible. Miss Jessica Andrus with the Talents Group, folks. Give her a call if you need a house sold, if you need to buy a house, if you're out of town and want to invest in a property, to maybe rent to some college students. She can do it all. I promise you, she is a 5-star realtor. A little curveball there on this one, Mr. Allen Head. But I appreciate you. I appreciate you. The what do you call it? The impromptu. What do you call it when the comedians do it?
Improvisational skills.
That's what I said. Miss Jessica Andrus with the Talents Group. Give her a call, 334-704-4442. She's fantastic. She truly is a 5-star realtor. Give her a call. Tell her we sent you. All right, fellas, let's talk a little bit about the weekend that was and maybe the weekend that will be. First and foremost, Caleb Cunningham was here. Naeem Alford was here. Broderick Scholl was here. Elijah Melendez was here. The cornerback Blake Woodby was here. Ty Buster was here. Amari Winston was here. There's another offensive lineman. Did I say Ty Buster?
Yeah, you did. Kalen Edwards.
Kalen Edwards. There you go. 8 guys. Lots of storylines. Lots of headlines coming out of those guys, especially at the top. Biggest takeaways from this weekend. We'll start for Mr. Cole Pinkston. Cole, you were there. You heard the exit interviews. You saw the exit interviews. You wrote several exit interview stories. Biggest takeaways from this past weekend.
Yeah, we touched on it a good bit on the call-in show for those who watch it. But getting to, I guess, marinate on it a little bit more.
Sure.
A day or two later. The buzz is still there. Like, it hasn't faded. I think all those guys are still very realistic for Auburn, and I'm including Caleb Cunningham. Maybe not Naeem Alford in the very realistic, but definitely realistic. And I didn't believe, you can go back and look at an article I wrote maybe a week before. I said that Naeem Alford, Auburn's not really in it. They're trying to be, but not really in it. And I think I was wrong on that, guys. I think Auburn's in this. I really do, after seeing that. So you made a big move with Naeem Alford. You made obviously a huge move with Caleb Cunningham. I mean, Blake Woodby. I don't even know who a number 2. I don't even know who a good competition for Auburn is for him right now. If we're being honest, I think Auburn's number 1 has a pretty big lead with Blake Woodby. I think Auburn has the lead for Brody Scholl. Watch out for Elijah Melendez. What's he going to do? If they want to flip Amari Winston, I did a little bit of checking on that. I think they probably could.
Mm-hmm.
Kalen Edwards, they could have him back today, I think, if they really, really wanted to. And then Ty Buster, you reaffirmed things there, and he's getting looked at by Florida State, Tennessee. They want him on visits. So, he said, I was actually kind of halfway in and then came back, and boom, I'm 100. Like, that helped me with my commitment. So, I mean, there was just every single guy, there was something positive to take away from.
Really was. Mr. Allen Head, you've talked to some folks. You've read the stories. You've seen a lot of things that happened. What were your kind of biggest takeaways, I guess?
Sure. It's that you had positions of need in this class in this past weekend, and you hit home runs with each of them, right? Like, DB, I think they've recruited well over the last 3 or 4 years, but last cycle it was a little bit light in the cornerback class. But what did you bring in? You brought 2 of your top cornerbacks, 2 of your top cornerback targets in this class in this past weekend, and Naeem Alford, Blake Woodby, all the buzz is very positive with Blake Woodby when I've asked around on that one. Naheem Alford, there's some quiet confidence there from the staff's part. Is it enough for me to believe that they're going to land him in the end? I don't know. But I think there's some confidence from them that, when push comes to shove on National Signing Day, Auburn's going to have an opportunity to be in the thick of it. And that's the best way I can put it. Watching Caleb Cunningham come out of the weekend saying Auburn's number one, yes, that young man's impressionable. But hearing that, which is the most definitive statement he's made to date in his recruitment.
Thank you.
I thought that, that's something that, that's noteworthy, guys. That's something to pay attention to. And it makes you believe. Again, our intel was going into the weekend. He was more open than some people thought because I think the consensus had been he was going to stay in state. And now I'm not convinced that's necessarily the case. It could be, but I don't think anything's set in stone with him. So interested to see how that turns out. You guys know how I feel about Elijah Melendez. I think that kid is something special from a Mike linebacker position. And
man, he's pretty.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's got a great skill set. He's a good fit for what DJ Durkin wants to do for that Mike linebacker position. So chopping wood there. We'll see. Miami's going to be tough to beat in the end, I think, but Auburn is absolutely a contender for him now. And I think you needed this weekend to put yourself in position to do that. And if you get him back on campus for a visit this fall or for a Big Cat weekend, maybe that will be what it needs to do to push you over the top. But obviously, Brody Scholl. You can't walk away from this weekend without talking about the big 5-star offensive tackle. You need 5 to 6 offensive linemen in this class. Brody Scholl would be a huge piece of what you're trying to accomplish. I think most people saw the crystal ball that Steve Wiltfong put in for Andrew Babalola today. That doesn't mean that he's committing to Stanford, but
right.
Steve Wiltfong's fantastic at what he does. He doesn't just throw blind guesses out there. So if that's the case and Babalola is trending to Stanford, it makes Brody Scholl all that much more important to lock him up. I think Auburn did a great job and came a long way in doing that. And we'll just see. I mean, maybe he does something relatively soon. Maybe he does hold true to his word and makes his commitment after his official visits conclude in the month of June. It'll be interesting to see. But judging by the comments that he gave to you guys and the digging around I did on that situation after the fact, I think Auburn feels like they're in a really good spot with Brody Scholl.
I think if I was doing a biggest moves made I think Caleb Cunningham obviously would be number one. Alan, we've seen, oh yeah, he's impressionable. He's always very high on the school after his visit, but he's never taken it as far to say this is my leader. This is the first time he's named a leader, if I'm not mistaken. I went back and read his stories after all of the visits from the spring till now. He's never said, oh man, this is the school right now to beat. Nope. So for him, that was a big deal to me. I think Auburn made the biggest move with them. And number two, Cole mentioned it too. Elijah Melendez, fellas, I'm telling you, Auburn made a huge impression. And this is a fantastic, humble, modest kid. Even though he's, I say that with his OV pictures with all his shirt off. And I don't mean that way. But my point is this. I've spoken to Elijah several times over the past 2 weeks. To me, he's more of an Auburn kid. Okay, he's not flashy. He's not the gold chains. And I know Miami has their tradition of being kind of this flashy South Florida type culture. I don't get that from him. And no. I think it was a big, big move for Auburn this weekend. I really like where Auburn stands. I really like that he could possibly come back for Big Cat. I love that he's coming back in the fall when bringing his mother for a multi-day visit to a game. I really like what DJ Durkin means to this kid and what their plan is for him. And I'm telling you, Caleb Cunningham and Elijah Melendez, I really like what Auburn did over the weekend. Now, Cunningham was back in Ole Miss on Tuesday. Yep. See what he says if and when he leaves or if he does an exit interview. But I thought Auburn made the biggest moves with both of those guys. We'll see. All right, folks, let's get to what they want us to talk about. They meaning the Auburn Live on 3 family. The questions from the corner, folks, and if you haven't already joined Auburn Live on 3, it's a fantastic time to do it. Go get signed up. It's for 2 months for $1 if you use the promo code AU1. Capital A, capital U1. Use that promo code. You get 2 months for $1. As I said before, just don't tell anybody. It's a YouTube secret. Only to our YouTube listeners. Everybody else just gets 1 month for $1. Dude, 2 months right now will get you June, July. It'll get you through Big Cat. Go get signed up. You can get all the premium information. You can join our message board and talk with other Auburn fans, and it'll carry you through Big Cat Weekend. So get signed up. AU1, capital A, capital U1, Auburn Live on 3. Also, while I'm spitting these little, I don't know what they are, promos, where I think we're getting closer to 9.5 on our YouTube channel. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel, man. It means a lot to us. It does a lot for us, and it keeps everything we do on here free. So anything, if you want to know what you can do to support us, listen to us first and foremost, and also subscribe to that channel. Be grateful to ye. All right, let's see here. All the meat for free leading us off tonight. Do we land 2 running backs? And if so, which 2? I think
Yes.
The first answer is yes. The second answer is up for debate, up for discussion. With Bo Jackson committing to Ohio State, does that mean Georgia pushes harder for Usman Kroma? Does it matter?
I think it does. I think Georgia does push for Usman Kroma now. That's just a gut feeling for me, and largely because I think I had thought Todd Robinson would be a running back, but it sounds like Georgia's recruiting him as an athlete. It's going to give him the opportunity to play safety and running back.
Yeah.
So that puts a little bit more emphasis on Usman Kroma there.
I think he definitely starts out at safety. So now you're looking at Georgia having Bo Walker as their one lone running back commit right now because they did not get Bo Jackson yet. They didn't get him committed. Ohio State gets him committed.
Hold on, who? Oh, Bo Jackson. Okay, yeah,
Bo Jackson.
Sorry,
yeah, not the Bo Jackson.
Right. The great value.
You got a lot. You got a lot to live up to there if your name's Bo Jackson. Do you not? I mean, you don't even have to be an Auburn guy. Bo Jackson was pretty, national.
Oh, for sure.
Well, Bo Jackson and play running back. Like you could be Bo Jackson and play safety.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like Bo Jackson and you play running back. Okay.
It's probably best he went up north or stayed up north.
I think so.
They said if your name was Herschel Walker, we'd push hard. I'm just kidding.
So do y'all think Cole? Keep on going, but do you think Alvin Henderson's one of them? And if so, who's the other? I guess that's a better question.
Yeah, well,
Kyle Mills Knight,
DeJuan
Morris.
I'm looking at our lists here, our official visit
JP
list.
Powell committed to Georgia Tech Tuesday. He was a guy he was kind of a fringe guy, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. But you also have Trey Kinkle is on our official visit list now. That's going to be interesting. I don't know much about him. Have tried to get in touch with him a few times. Have not been able to do that. He's got some big schools after him. He's a flashy, very talented running back with a lot of speed. And I think if you're going to get a guy like Henderson, who is not the biggest guy, but his frame is going to be able to hold 200 plus pounds. I think you go for a speedster with the other one. It seems like that would be the way to do it.
I don't disagree with you, Cole. I've got my eyes on Trey Kinkle was one for sure. I think Florida State, Ole Miss are also in the mix for him as schools you should pay attention to there. DeJuan Morris is probably the other one besides Alvin Henderson. That's the one I'm paying the most attention to right now. Shakai Mills-Knight was a guy that I thought Auburn was going to prepare to make a move on, and maybe they still will. But the feeling is that Miami may be in the driver's seat with him right now, and if that's the case, it makes Alvin Henderson that much more important to make sure you lock him up because you have to have somebody that can go in between the tackles in this class. Outside of Usman Kroma, Shakai Mills-Knight, and Alvin Henderson, I don't know who you're really looking at. Maybe Jasper Parker. Maybe he's a guy that could do that for you. I don't really know. But DeJuan Morris is a guy that could play slot wide receiver for you. He's a guy that can line up in the backfield. He's a player you could do a lot with. And if you plan on taking 3 running backs in this class, and we've talked about this,
sure,
he's the kind of guy that could give you the versatility to take 3 because he's not necessarily pigeonholed into one spot or another. You could move him around somewhat and get away with it. So he's probably a guy I'm looking at. Trey Kinkle would be another, but let's go Alvin Henderson, DeJuan Morris for me right now. Those are your 2 backs in this class. I think they were the 2 that were in Cole's mock, and they're in my. And I know that people are getting impatient with me, but in my mock class that I'll be rolling out sometime this week, those are the 2 in my class as well.
DeJuan Morris.
Yes, DeJuan Morris, Alvin Henderson.
I think Alvin Henderson and one of DeJuan Morris or Trey Kinkle, and the reason I say those two is like Cole said, I know Chicago Mills Knight's coming in, but those when you send an official visit, that means a lot to me about
Yep.
where you stand. So those are the three guys. I guess Mills Knight would be in there too, but I'm like you, I see him.
I'll tell you something to watch too. So Trey Kinkle is scheduled to officially visit on June 14th, which is, you got 12 guys coming in. He's one of those 12. Chicago Mills Night is June 10th, so the Monday following this weekend. Are those official visits shaky at best? Maybe, because where do they really stand with them? And I think Auburn was going to bring in an offensive lineman. Jaden Mann was a guy. Now I don't think they are. I think they feel pretty good about some of the guys they've had on campus recently. So, having said that, I think you're watching some of these running backs and going, there's going to be some shifting here, like with visits.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're shaky, because if that happens, DeJuan Morris is for the June 14th, that last official visit weekend.
Yep.
Do they feel good? Do they maybe go, all right, well, let's, we're not worried if we lose this official visit. We're focused on that one. That's what I'm watching in the coming weeks.
Let's see what OT Keat wants to know about. Based on recent momentum, are you taking the over or under on 5 stars in this class if the over and under is set at 2.5? So you going 2? You going 3 or more?
I'm going 2.
I think 2 sounds good.
You got 2.
Some of the options would be name offered:
Caleb Cunningham, Juju Lewis,
Brody
Scholl.
Scholl, yeah. And just to clarify, guys, he's not a 5-star at this point. If he keeps his ranking, he will be a 5-star.
Right.
Let's see, Juju, Jonah, none of those guys. I'm just making sure we're not forgetting anyone. Babalola, would be on there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm sure we'll have a question about him at some point, but I'm kind of with you, Alan. I don't think that, and Wiltfong is awesome at getting his predictions right, but there is a chance. I mean, it's not over yet.
No, nothing is said and done, and it wouldn't be the first time that Steve Wiltfong's had to change a prediction because a kid's information changed, right? Like predictions right now are, hey, this is the information, the way it's trending. And I don't want anybody to think that's me taking a shot at Steve Wiltfong. It's not. No. Again, he's fantastic.
Steve would tell you the same thing.
Well, that was the model of the on 3 RPM, which we've explained that several times, Jeffrey. And you see the way that Wiltfong puts them in now is a little bit differently than how he used to do crystal balls. It's more of a projection. This is where I see him landing, rather than he's going to commit tomorrow to this school. That's how we do the RPM. It's to show you the latest trend, and that's what I like about it personally.
I think he even said I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up with Auburn. So don't take this.
Yeah, he added that in there as well.
Yeah. So you're looking at 2 or less. I think 2. Right now I think 2. I'm gonna take the under. Ask me again, T-Keat, probably in 2 months.
And in fairness, I think we all took the under last year as well. And if players had held their ranking when we did this, because remember, DeMarcus Riddick was a 5-star, Perry Thompson was a 5-star, Cam Coleman, like you would have hit the over if people had held. But look, ratings fluctuate. To me, I don't care, and I don't think this Auburn staff cares either. They mark the guys they really want, and whether they're a 5-star, 4-star, whatever, that doesn't matter to them.
Right.
Let's see what a Welders AU. Recruitment for Eric Winters is all over the place. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yep. Miami has gotten into the mix. Georgia and Auburn obviously are the other two. Where does the confidence stand for Auburn right now? Do you get a sense that when he commits, will he shut it down? You know what? He was the name that popped up when you said something about Todd Robinson playing safety at Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, well, I wonder if that would – not that it's going to affect Eric Winters, but kind of popped up in my head. So Miami has made a big move. He took an official visit there this past weekend, if I'm not mistaken. I know some folks think Miami is a legit contender here now. Yep. I don't know how much, but confidence. Anybody gaining confidence, losing confidence? I've got him at 45, I think. I'll probably hold there until at least he visits Auburn.
I wouldn't say losing confidence, but let's see what he says when he visits. Like if he makes it to the official visit without committing someplace, and I think he will. I think at this point, he's going to do all of his official visits. right? Like if he were going to commit, he would have done it before he started taking them to Miami and Georgia, because I think Georgia's next, right? On his list, is it Georgia or
I think
Tennessee?
so.
It's one of the two.
I think Georgia's next, and he's scheduled to be at Auburn on June 14th with that big group.
Right. So to me, can Auburn get him to the official visit weekend? If they get him to the official visit weekend, they are 100% in the thick of it. So no, I haven't lost confidence, and we'll see what the verdict is coming out of that weekend. I think we'll all kind of have a better understanding of where we stand for Eric Winters when on June 16th, when he walks out of Auburn. You guys are going to have some information probably pretty readily available to you of Auburn knowing like, hey, either we're in this or we're not. And if we're not, we're going to be going a different direction someplace else here pretty quickly with the amount of time they've invested in him. So just get him to the OV and we'll see. But right now I'm holding firm. I'm with you at about 40 to 45%, Jeffrey. I think that's where I'm at with it.
Georgia this weekend. I'm sorry, Georgia this weekend, Auburn the next weekend for Mr. Eric Winters.
We've compared his recruitment to Joe Phillips a couple of times, and because you go back to around this time for Joe Phillips, and he was trending towards Georgia, and it's a really similar situation. Now, this is what I ask. I haven't been able to look. I don't even know. I assume Enterprise is probably going to be at one of the 7-on-7s at Auburn.
I would think.
Let's just assume that. Maybe they're not, but I'm pretty sure they'll be competing. It's so funny. Joe Phillips, Booker T. Washington, they were in a 7-on-7 tournament in Auburn last year. Saw Joe Phillips there, was hearing the buzz about Georgia, talked to him a little bit, came away going, yep, that's Georgia. Over.
Enterprise will be here Thursday.
Okay, there you go. And after that conversation I had, he had a visit at Auburn that day, and then Auburn was right back in it. So does this follow a similar path if Eric Winters comes back with his team to Enterprise on a 7-on-7? I just think that would be amazing if it went similarly to that, because I remember that very distinctly and how it worked out. Talking to him, I was like, nope, that's Georgia. Need to go change my pick probably now. And then after the visit, it was, hold on a minute here. So it's interesting how that might work, and it's just like it's lining up almost exactly the same. We've compared those two a lot.
Real Owen Smith, not to be confused with the fake Owen Smith. How many wide receivers is Auburn going to take in this class, and who do y'all think they will be? I've got it at 2 to 3. I think this weekend's going to be big. We mentioned that earlier, but Travis Smith is coming in. Derek Smith is coming in. Tavares Dice is coming in. Jacoby Ward is coming in this weekend. So that's 2 of the top wide receivers coming in. Also, Malik Clark included Auburn in his top 5 today. He's a 4-star wide receiver from South Carolina. But other than those guys, you've got Caleb Cunningham. You've got, Dallas Wilson, who's a long shot.
Yeah.
I think that's about it you've got TK Norman, you've got Dalen Upshaw in there as well, probably fringe guys, but it's top targets. Who do you like Auburn's chances with, and CJ Wiley as well? But it's tough. Josh Newberg was asking me about this earlier on Tuesday about, what's Auburn going to do at wide receiver? And it's, you feel pretty decent about Caleb Cunningham after this weekend's visit. You don't feel good about Travis Smith.
No,
not yet. You don't feel great about Derek Smith, not yet. CJ Wiley, Dallas Wilson.
Derek Smith's interesting to me. Alabama commit, visiting Auburn. He's already had his Alabama OV. I'm not in any way predicting him to Auburn.
Like somebody else I know.
You're good, man, because you could be right. You could be right in the end. Here's the thing. It is interesting to me that Alabama has changed their pitch to him, and now they're open to him playing wide receiver.
Yes, that says a lot to me, Alan.
It says that either A, he wants to play wide receiver, or he's listening to other pitches. And if he's listening to other pitches, that means he's open, right? Doesn't mean Auburn's going to flip him, but it means he's open. So now they're changing their strategy some to try to make sure that they can, they stay solid in his commitment. And Look, I haven't looked to see what Andrew Bone and Watson and their group have reported. I have no idea. But to me, look, I'm just reading tea leaves here, and if they're changing their strategy here, it's because they're trying to make sure they keep him happy. And
They have to.
Yeah, and if they're right, exactly. If they're doing that, that means he's listening to other people. So I'm not going to be shocked if there's some positive feedback coming from Derek Smith's official visit from Auburn this weekend. I'm just not. If I'm predicting, I'm going to go with TK Norman and Caleb Cunningham right now. I think TK is going to have a good camp. I think
he did.
He did have a good camp. I think he'll have another. I think he's going to do the MVP camp or whatever it is later in June that they have every year. So if he comes back again, camps very well. I think he's a guy that Auburn could absolutely put the gas to and get him in this class. And Caleb Cunningham's going to be a kind of kid that maybe you can make a move on him in late summer when some guys start feeling the pressure of making a commitment before their season starts. Maybe it's somebody who goes down to National Signing Day. But anytime a 5-star wide receiver says that Auburn's number one on my board, okay, for the time being, I'll project him to my class.
Yeah.
Reason 10, who is already in line for How About You this week. He was responsible for our Water or Power, POW, Personal Question of the Week. The Q is silent from Sunday night's call-in show. I know we talk a lot about proof of concept, but other than wins, what do you think Hugh needs to show this year?
Ooh.
Improvement.
Well, yeah, he's got to show. He's got to show that they have a capable passing offense, and that's not just for your receivers; it's for your quarterbacks, and that in itself will bring you more success on the field, I believe. I mean, just compared to last year, it was abysmal. So that's the biggest area that has to improve your pass offense.
Cole, you took the words right out of my mouth. A nuanced, developed passing game, period. Show the ability to have some explosive plays. And I mean, 3-4 a game, explosive plays, because that was just missing from last year's offense. It was so much ground and pound. And if you did get an explosive, it was Jarquez hitting his head on the goalpost. You know what I mean?
Yep. Except
for the Vanderbilt game. Like the Vanderbilt game, it felt like we had a couple big passing plays in that one, but God bless their poor safeties who just couldn't run. No, man, you got to have more explosives, got to develop the passing game, got to show Peyton Thorne, man, the ability to throw, to show production with him after the season he had last year. If you get Thorne back to where he's throwing for 250 plus a game, 300 a game, that's a lot, you know what I mean? 20 plus touchdowns, single digit interceptions. That shows the quarterback development touch is still there. And that's going to go a long way with guys like Juju Lewis, KJ Lacey, kids of that caliber that are looking to come to Auburn.
You also need to add to it, I think, loosen up a little bit, because it looked like Hugh Freeze and his team was reflective of him, of how tight he was about some things and how nervous he was and anxious. And I felt like they looked like that at times on the field, and it was noticed by recruits at times. I've talked to a recruit about this. Like they need to loosen up a little bit. Like they would be better if they just loosened up. So that's a big deal, and it starts from Freeze, and he had every reason to be tight about things. He was worried about his depth on defense. He was worried about quarterback play, worried about the discombobulation of the offense, a lack of passing game, pass protection. I mean, the list goes on. You're trying to build your roster. So now that you've got more of a roster that you feel pretty good about, you're starting to feel pretty good about, loosen up the screws a little bit, man.
Loosen them up. Let them swag a little bit.
It's easier said than done.
This little Carter man, Bammer Lover, wants to know tonight, how many cornerbacks do we take? And if we take 5, which is possible, who do you feel strongest about ending up in this class besides the 2 we already have? Well, I think we all feel good about Blake Woodby.
Yes.
I think one guy is on campus today, and today, Wednesday, Donovan Starr.
Yes. And I tell you what, I had not paid attention. I didn't watch his huddle before or try to find any clips of him. He can play, guys.
Mm-hmm. They love him.
He can go get it, man. So yeah, that would be a big one. I'm going to be interested to see what you guys report coming out of the weekend. I have zero information on this young man, but he can absolutely play. So I'll be interested to see what you guys have to say.
Now that some new names have popped up, I think it's fair to say that your Tim Merritt's and your Shamar Arnaud's probably tier 2 or fringe, not quite takes at this point. And the reason we thought they could be close to that at one point is because who else? Like, who else is even out there?
Sure.
Who are they even in it for? But it seems like they're in it for obviously Donovan Starr. So now that you've got a tier 1 forming out, at least a realistic one, I think those are tier 2. And I don't think they would take them if they got both Star and Woodby. I think they would probably end it there and then put all their eggs in the Naeem offer basket.
Oh, no question.
I think your cornerback board looks like Naeem, Donovan Starr, Blake Woodby, Shamar, Tim Merritt, Andrew Purcell.
Yep.
On down the line a little bit. Those probably your top 6.
Jeffrey,
Cole.
How many do you think they take? That's the thing, though. Do you think they take 4?
I do.
I do too, man.
I do.
I think they
needed another one in the transfer portal. They tried to. Just couldn't make it work. At least not yet. So I think that was an extra spot in this class.
That's another position, man. Really, I don't even know if it's position at this point. You're just going to have late bloomers. It's going to happen. Do you remember the big class Auburn took a couple of years ago? J.C. Hart, we weren't talking about it at this point in the summer, hardly at all. Because he's about to camp. If you go back, he's about to camp at Auburn, run 4.3, and then we start talking about it. Colton Hood wasn't on the radar that much at all, if at all, this time of year 2 years ago.
Might have been the most impressive corner in that group this past spring.
Very well.
Dagger to the heart.
That's another position. I think you get to senior year, some guys start to pop up. It just happens all the time. Roger McCreary. Roger McCreary is another example of that.
Let's see what AU Alpha Eagle 89, which is more likely, top 5 class or 9 wins?
Ooh.
It's a toughie.
That is a good question.
Oh, it's so difficult to get that top 5 class.
I'm going to say 9 wins. I am.
I think I am too. 9 wins.
So difficult to get a top 5 class. Auburn's had one in the past, 25 years.
So you're going to hear
one? Yeah. Because Chia's in his first year, right? And he had 3 5-stars in that class, I believe. Because it was Mike Dyer, Sean Coleman, and Cam Newton.
Man, I think the staff would rather hit on their evals and trust their evals than go try to get somebody just to get in that top 5. So my point in saying that is a Jacoby Ward. That they look at that guy and go, that is close to a 5-star offensive lineman in our opinion.
Sure.
He's a 3-star. Yes, he's a 3-star in your rankings, in all the rankings. Ty Buster's the same way. I don't know if he's that high, but they think Ty Buster's going to be really good. They would much rather take those guys and take the hit when it comes to the national ranking than push for someone else that might help them get that ranking higher. I really believe that, and they're going to do that.
I agree, and it feels like the star power, most of the star power in this class so far is coming on the defensive side of the ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
Offensively, while I love our offensive line class, I mean, I think we got some really great offensive linemen so far. The only one that's truly highly regarded.
Tavares?
Yeah, Tavares Dice. That's the only one that's on a national level, like that's highly regarded is Tavares Dice so far.
Consensus 4-star. Everybody else is there's a 3-star. Carday Smith is, Ty Buster's a consensus 3. Mm-hmm. Spencer Dolan's a consensus 3.
Yeah, and you sit in a good spot with Brody Scholl, he's a 5 on 3, but he's like a 4-star with some other people. So he would be a big pickup. But Jacoby Ward, definitely a 3-star, right? So while
Brody is a 3-star on 24/7. I know all the people on the corner have just expressed their frustration with 24/7 rankings after they realized that he was a 3-star. Great day in the morning.
Amazing how that happens, right?
Right.
They'll love him for the next prospect that's ranked higher on their site. But it's just it depends to me. Top 5 for me is Caleb Cunningham, Juju. You get those two, you're probably going to be able to be in the top 5.
Now,
I think you're going to be competitive for it anyway, especially if you got some Zion Grady's and a couple others that are still out there too.
On the other side of that coin too, I mean to cut you off. Sorry about that.
But you're good.
From what I was saying and from what you're saying, on the other side of that coin, you've got, they're going to be relentless about certain 5 stars.
Yeah.
Now, they didn't get, KJ Bolden, LJ McCray, Kamari, and Franklin. There's 3 last year that they were not able to get. This is going to happen again. But if they hit like we think they can hit,
sure.
And I think the 5-star target board's a little higher right now. Maybe even just the blue chip target board. I think they're in on maybe more blue chips than they were a year ago in total.
Yes.
They're still going to take the guys that they think are better than their ranking without having to worry about, if I get this guy top 5, if I get this guy, they drop out. They don't care.
No.
They're still going to have a chance at a top 5, but 9 wins seems more likely to answer the question. It just does.
And so this is the thing. And Jeffrey, you hit something earlier that I hadn't thought about, but Auburn's got like 5 open slots right now, right? They haven't even gotten to their 85.
That's true.
So by sheer volume alone, this class could be ranked higher because of the amount of points that you accumulate, right? So, I think this class, we were talking the other night about, hey, man, we may be capped at 25. It may not be because of the added space that you have. Like, you're not saving spots for the portal like you typically would because you already got spots open.
Right.
So, and you're losing, 26 guys in this class? So you're talking about 31 off the cuff. That's a lot of spots, man, without any other attrition.
You would have to, a top 5 class, you're getting Julian Lewis, you're getting Caleb Cunningham, you're probably getting name offer. All very doable.
Yes, doable. That's your 3 5-stars, right?
Yep. And that's what it would take. War Dad Eagle 2, most likely to commit to least likely from the OVs from this past weekend, most likely to commit.
Ooh.
Most likely. Well, you've got Brody.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, he's number 1.
You've got Blake Woodby.
Number 2.
He's probably number 2. Yeah, I agree. Number 3 being Kalen Edwards.
I agree with that.
And the only reason he's number 3, I actually think he's probably the one that wants in the most. I still am just not 100% sure if they're just kicking his door down trying to get him back. I think they would take him if he just said, I'm ready. I think they'd take him, but I don't know if he's just the number 1 priority to get in the class right now.
I think that's fair. They're not saying, hey, man, we've only got 1 more spot. You better hurry up.
No.
I don't think they're doing that quite yet. They may at some point, but I don't think they are right now.
No, they got a young man coming in this weekend that I think that Jeffrey reported about that very interested in.
Walter Mathis.
Yes.
On Monday.
Monday. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Because they're only taking 4. They've got 2. And I'm going to tell you, man, we said it, and we've all said it. But don't sleep on Antonio Coleman now.
No.
Cole took some heat last week from the Bama fans, but I'm right there with him, man. I'm right there with him.
Not for Antonio Coleman, but that'll happen too.
Who was it?
Darrell Johnson, Duke Johnson.
Oh, yeah, not him too. I would throw him in the same boat.
All I said was I think Auburn's going to have a shot at some point here with him. I believe
Cole.
that. I believe that.
If you can't rile a rival message board up, you're doing your job wrong, my man. So don't worry about it.
No, you're right. You're right. It's all in good fun.
Dom the Ace, do you see a scenario where Auburn takes 2 high school quarterbacks, or do you think if they took more than 1, it would be 1 high school and 1 portal in this class? Okay, Jay.
Yes, hey, you good, man? We got 50 Cent in the J head drawer. We bringing it back.
Yeah, Jalen.
Allen.
Cole, when next time you're gonna hit me up with it, got that J head, just put the J Allen haircut instead.
Up to $16, by the way.
There we go. I like that we got the running tally still going.
Yes.
I do. I think
Really? Wait a minute. You think what? That they could take 2 high school quarterbacks, so they could take 2 quarterbacks, including a portal?
2 quarterbacks, including a portal.
Okay.
I do not believe they're taking 2 high school quarterbacks, period. I think that is incredibly hard to do in this day and time. Kids just have too many options, and quarterbacks know that there's only one that plays at a time, right? And if you're in the same class, it's cutting your options down. You're in an immediate competition with the guy that's also in your class. So I think the possibility is very much there for Auburn to take a portal quarterback and to also take a high school quarterback, contingent on who your high school quarterback is. I mean, look, I'm not going to be shy about saying this. I think the amount of resources you're going to have to dump into Juju Lewis. I mean, do you have what it takes to also go get a portal quarterback?
A short-term guy.
A short-term guy?
I think it is more likely that you get 2 portal quarterbacks than 2 high school quarterbacks.
I think that's true too.
And let me even go a little further with that. I think it's possible Auburn does not take a quarterback in this class.
A high school guy?
High school.
I was going to say, high school.
I think that's highly possible. I'm starting to lean more towards that way, if we're being honest. I've had some hesitancy around the Julian Lewis recruitment, and there's a good reason for that. I didn't know how to feel about it for a long time. Talked to him, still didn't know how to feel about it, but felt like he was being pretty honest when he said, I just kind of want to go where I want to play football. I mean, I don't really, all those 4 schools, all those schools are fine to me. It sounded like that, maybe he's not making the decision by himself. So it's hard to track when it's that way. It's really hard to track. And I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that one right now, but I've always had a hesitancy about it for a reason. And now I'm starting to feel like I know the reason. He may not end up at Auburn. There's a chance. There's a chance he does end up at Auburn, but I feel more leaning towards more that he could not. And if he doesn't, do they get KJ Lacey? I don't know. Don't have an answer for that either, but I'm leaning towards no.
It sure would stack up nicely. I understand the want for Juju Lewis, but even if you don't take a high school quarterback, you've got Walker White a year, and then next year is going to be an easy sell for that next Juju Lewis.
Yeah.
It's going to be an easier sell.
Significantly.
We didn't take one last year. Our transfer portal quarterbacks graduating and moving on. We've got an open competition with a sophomore and a couple of juniors. Our senior that hasn't started. It'd be the way. I could see that.
I could. I still think their preference is to land a high school quarterback.
Me too. I do
too. I don't think that they're going to take a project, though, Cole. I will back you up on that. I do not believe they're going to take a project. I think they're going to take – I think there may be a third candidate that we're not necessarily discussing at this point. Like, I think that could present itself a little bit later down the line. But it's going to be a high-end guy. It's not going to be – and this is no offense to him. It's not going to be a Hank Brown year. Like, I don't foresee that coming.
I agree.
Hopefully we'll know a little bit more about the quarterback recruiting as summer winds down. We'll start getting some feedback, see how things are going. We've done this in War Eagle 07. Do we reach a point where where we move on if this goes beyond the summer, and what's the latest on Winters and Fegans? Latest on Winters and Fegans, we talked about Eric a little earlier. He's going to, I forgot, Georgia? He went to Miami. He's going to Georgia this weekend, Auburn the next weekend. Anquan will be here for Big Cat. He has visited Georgia. I think he's looking at Miami, maybe. Anyways, so Juju Lewis, according to Steve Wiltfong, could potentially take his decision into the fall. And this kind of lines up with what each of you were just talking about. Like, if you're desperate to sign a quarterback in this class, then you want him to hurry up. If you're not, then you can play the long game here.
Mm-hmm.
You can play. Hey, you want to wait till October? That's fine. And if you don't get him, you don't take one. You look for the portal. You look for 2026. So, do you think Auburn is in this? Hey, we need to know by August with Juju.
I'll
It
tell you what.
depends.
I don't know. The question that's asked here, I say, I think it was, do they move on if it takes too long? I think the answer to that is yes. I think
yeah.
Auburn will. I think Auburn will 100% if they feel that this one is getting away from them. I feel like they'll cut ties.
But you said they
Cut
may
ties.
not
That's
sign one.
that's a little too harsh. A little too harsh. Cut ties is too harsh. They'll
What line?
probably. I don't know. I just get the feeling that. I get the feeling that if it is a big NIL game like that, we've already heard Freeze say that he doesn't like to get into bidding wars. And I think he's being genuine when he says that. So if it turns into that, I just don't see it happening because I think that number is higher than your typical bidding war, if that makes sense. Will he get in a bidding war? Yes, I think he will. But I think this number is a lot higher, and it's a different ballgame.
So here's my feeling on Juju, and if you wait, and I look no further back than the Raiola recruitment with Nebraska, they lost that recruitment to Georgia very early last cycle. They stayed in it and gave an offer that was about 3 times worth what Georgia was offering the kid.
Dang.
To snag him right there on National Signing Day to create some buzz. I think if Auburn really is sold that Juju is the guy and that he is what puts them over the top, they will sit and wait. I do not think they'll pivot. But are they sold? That's what I don't know. You know, I mean, I'm trying to ask as much about how sold they are on Juju being the guy as I am on Juju wanting to be in Auburn right now. I think that's a two-pronged question because do they feel like a guy like KJ Lacey can fit into what they do, be very successful, and you can reallocate those resources elsewhere to other parts of the class, whether it be your portal class or other parts. So that's the interesting dynamic to me. And Cole, I think you have an interesting point of if you feel like he's trending elsewhere, what do you do? Do you stay in it with him or do you decide, okay, it's best to reallocate resources? You know what I mean? And so it's an interesting conversation. And that just depends to me on how sold they are on in Juju being like that missing piece to push them over the top.
Well, I also find it very interesting that Husan Longstreet was their guy. I mean, that was I think that's telling. And you look at the rankings of the two of them and you go, well, you would probably pick Julian Lewis. You watch the tape of both of them, you'd pick Julian Lewis. So what does that say? It says there's something there that we may not know. That's where I'm leaning. That's my gut feeling on the situation. It's really hard to put into words. I'm learning, but that is. I just have some hesitancy about it, and I'm going to keep saying that.
When you're dealing with a very protective and involved father,
yeah,
it makes it very difficult. And at some point, you go, just is it worth the trouble? And I think that's what Alan, maybe you were trying to say.
And talking to him, talking to Julian personally was not as big as I hoped because he did this number a lot. I think I want to do it before my season. Yeah, I like.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know.
I think he just wants to play football, and if it's one of those 4 schools, he'll be happy. That's the read I got.
Great kid. I mean, and think about how young he is. I mean, he's a 16-year-old. He's graduating, 2 whole years early right now or something like that?
Yeah, he'll finish because he's an early enrollee. He told me that too. He said, I want to get a decision done before the season because I'm an early enrollee and need to get it going.
He should be a junior. He should be He will be finishing in what would have been the middle of his junior year.
How does that even work?
Yeah, we're talking about a kid that's not even going to go to his junior prom, right?
Yeah.
Forget his senior prom. You're talking about taking a kid that's not even going to go to his junior prom. And so when I'm looking at it from that viewpoint as a father myself, I can't blame a kid for like not knowing what he wants to do. Hell, all I want to do is go out on Friday night and go see my girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like I ain't, you know what I mean? Trying to make this kind of a decision, that the magnitude that could shape your future. Yeah, the easy thing is I just want to play ball, man. Let my dad sort through all this other stuff. Like I don't care.
Jack Boys, how different is the response from visitors now versus 2021 or 2019? Is there a significant vibe difference around the campus?
Yeah.
You know, of course there's a different vibe. There's a more positive vibe. But, man, these kids, when they leave, even 2019, 2021, I mean, they were, you know, they're always saying the right things.
Yep.
So it's not a huge, like, oh, my God, man. The kids were like, oh, yeah, it was a great time. When Brian Harsin was here, you know, these kids were up and they had a great time. You know,
I think what I've noticed is that there's more detail in the answers. It's like there's more that they're able to recall and go, this happened and this happened. This was big, even off the record, Jeffrey. Like that's the biggest takeaway for me. That's different from. And 2021 was my first year covering. I didn't do 2019, so I don't know exactly. But I'd walk away from the 2021 official visit interviews and go, all right, well, there's that. I did.
I think we have more confidence, and it's easier to believe what they're saying is more genuine, than it was 3 years ago.
That's
when you're going, you said all the right things, you said all the right, you know, had all the right comments and this and that, but did you really?
Yeah. How much of it was just them, you know, not wanting to burn someone in an exit interview by comparison to how they really felt? And look, I mean, to steal a line from, you know, previous podcast, proof of concept, man. Hugh Freeze has 100% landed a top 8 recruiting class. You know what I mean? So I give him the benefit of the doubt when a kid comes to the campus and they say things like they've said. You've got a top 10 class right now. And this is not, look, Brian Harsin's been an easy target this week. Look, Stephen Godfrey roasted him on Twitter. He's been the target of multiple Auburn fans because of that stupid Athlon comment he made. He just never understood recruiting in the way that Hugh Freeze does, right? You know, and his staff had some really great coaches on it, some really good guys, and I just don't think they were ever up for success just because the mindset wasn't necessarily there. You know, to truly understand what it takes to get a commitment done in this league. And I will tell you this, the other thing that shows you that they were never really in it, even though the comments were positive, they never committed, right? Like I can remember in the summertime, do you remember we were like on commitment number 3?
Yeah.
You know, and it was like July. And we're looking at each other like, man, we thought we'd be at like 8 or 9 at this point. And we're at 3.
Putting a dent in the class at least, and there was just nothing going on. Again, the kids were saying all the right things.
Yes.
All the right mannerisms, but the results weren't there. And we didn't have confidence that the results would come.
Yeah.
I think now we listen to it and we go, hey, I believe you.
Yeah.
I believe you. Fill the barn. Anything new with Zion Grady? Anything new? Nah.
Nah, nothing new.
Visited Miami this past weekend, I believe, with Eric Winters coming.
They've got some confidence, but again, if he visits Auburn, we'll see where it stands.
He's got an OV set up, does he not? I think he's on that 14th weekend with the 12 guys. I think he's one of the 12.
No, I think he's coming in on like the 10th or something. He's like coming in on a Monday, I think.
Oh, you're right. The 10th. I think that's correct. Let's see. Yes. He will be there on Monday, the 10th.
Going to Florida State this weekend, coming home Sunday, and then coming to Auburn the next day on Monday with, well, we'll get to that. That's a big Monday. That's a big Monday visit.
Be a big one, yeah,
it really is.
Real quick, I got to pull it up now. What was it, June 10th? Man, 6.
Yep.
Isaiah Gibson, Zion Grady, Caleb Edwards, Javion Campbell, Walter Mathis, and Shakai Mills tonight. That's going to be on Monday. All right, Robert Dale 1. Since Caleb Cunningham has publicly named Auburn his #1 school, do Cole or Jeffrey plan to put in an RPM? Negative. Not yet.
No,
Not yet.
happening. Not yet.
Not for at least 6 weeks.
There you go. I think that's fair.
Yeah, I want to see what happens. I want to see what he says after all the visits are taken. I want to see. I feel confident he's coming back to Big Cat, but I want to see where things stand about the middle of July. About the middle of July, I hope to have a better feel on him. And if is he going to wait until December like he originally planned? Because he said he may not. After that Auburn visit, he said, I don't know. So we'll see. All right, Yellow Cake. Can you explain what a non-committable offer is? Absolutely. Is that just something fans say when a recruit spurns them? Negative. How do you coaches tell recruits if it is or isn't? A non-committable offer is an offer. They don't say, hey, man, this is a non-committable offer. They offer the kid. A non-committable offer would be this kid going, hey, coach, you gave me an offer. I'm ready to commit. And I'm going, hey, man, we just slow down. We want to see you in camp, or we want to see your senior year. No rush.
Right.
Now, for instance, Georgia has offered Kalen Edwards. Kalen Edwards could not call Georgia right now and say, I want to commit, and them go, come on, big dog. So that's a non-committable offer.
Right.
But you don't know it's a non-committable offer until you try to commit.
Sometimes I think they probably do. I think they're up front and they go, look, we're going to offer you today, but we want, like you said, we want to see you at camp. We want to come see you in the spring. We need to see a little bit more. And they'll just be up front about it. I think they did that with Malcolm Simmons last year. I think they offered him and said, when we see you in camp, we'll have an answer for you. And when I use the phrase knocking down the door trying to get them, this is kind of what I'm referring to. The guy has an offer, but are they just doing everything they can to land the guy? You ask yourself that question on some of these recruitments. Some of them you go, oh, absolutely. Others you go, I don't think so. That's how it was with Bradley Shaw last year. I never felt like Auburn was trying to knock down the door to get him. But
Bradley Shaw, yeah. Where'd he end up?
Arkansas. No?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was Arkansas with T-Will.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, it was. You're right. Arkansas. But anyway, that's the point there. And it's not wrong. It's not bad. It's just part of the business. And I think
every school
understand it.
Every school does it.
But
Maximus.
Sometimes you need to put an offer in there to be in the game, because
if
you don't.
You want to get in the game. That's officially getting into the game when you offer a kid.
Right.
You don't want kid to, oh, they didn't offer me. Well, we didn't want to. I think Dabo does this, right?
Yes.
Dabo does it. Honestly, it's the Dabo way. He's high and mighty. We're not giving a kid an offer unless it's committable. All right. Well, is it frustrating, and Maximus, by the way, is it frustrating from your guys' point of view to cover the recruitment of a guy who doesn't have the final say on a decision? Oh, yeah, we were talking about this. Julian Lewis with the helicopter parents. I don't know if a helicopter or just more involved. But yes, it's very frustrating. And Cole can attest to this. When you're talking to a kid and he can't really answer because he doesn't know the answer.
Yeah. Yeah, it just makes it different. So, because sometimes the kid might say something, but in reality,
doesn't matter.
Yeah, doesn't matter. It may. I don't. Let me decide if I want to get into this or not. I used the word political the other day because I think recruiting is becoming political, and you know what? I don't care. It is. I think it is becoming political. I think the money has made it that way, and where a kid may not even realize that a situation could be already worked out, and he's going, "Oh, I love this school." Oh, okay. Then he finds out later. Well, okay, a deal it was done here. Yeah. It was already handled.
I thought I was going here, but I was told no, I'm going over here.
Yep, and it happens.
That goes beyond parents. I mean, look, these kids have agents now. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like they have legitimate runners for them. I mean, look no further. Who's the kid that just transfer portal quarterback that signed with Georgia?
Rashada.
Yeah.
Jaden Rashada had 2 college kids from SMU that were functioning as his agents that cut that deal with Florida. if that tells you how dysfunctional that whole situation was, he had a guy like, hey, man, I can't make it to econ class because I'm going to be, doing Jaden Rashada's NIL deal. Just ridiculous, right? But that's what you had going on in this space. It's my hope that now that this settlement is behind us in the House case, you can cut deals with the actual university. You'll see real agents kind of creep into this space and bring some legitimacy to it. So you can kind of get away from some of the people that are in this space that are just truly just don't belong and make it more convoluted than it needs to be.
Fantastic questions tonight. I loved our questions tonight. Wide range of topics. It's fantastic. It was a great job by the corner.
I thought so. I thought they brought it tonight. But maybe it's because I also put the thread up on time and gave them an opportunity to put questions in there. I kind of left you guys a little short last week.
It's all, it's Alan's fault. Well, speaking of the corner, how about you?
I got a bunch.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 6. I have 6. How about you this week? All right.
Yeah. I guess I'll go first.
All right.
War Eagle JM. All one word. War Eagle JM. Cinco tu seis.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Carnell is an Escalade.
How about you, big dog?
He's also on mine.
Oh, yeah?
Well, it's probably for the same comment because it was in the Brody Shoal story.
Yep.
He said, man, that's crazy. They took him all the way to Montgomery to see the honeybees. I bet Jeffrey Lee was loving that.
I read that, dude, and almost fell out of my chair. I was like,
I couldn't even read it just then. It was making me laugh.
Jeffrey and them honeybees.
Man, you know, every
ending
guy...
racism one shake at a time.
There's nicknames that fly around. I mean, I had several when I played football. If they don't call this man Honeybee, you are missing out. That would be what I'd be calling. Robert Dale won. He's had a good week. He's had a real good week.
You got on our questions tonight.
He did, yeah. Johnny Utah had a nice post about it. Several guys did. His was out there for a while. So Johnny Utah. And then Eli Double-Lot. Eli Double-Lot gets one because he's more aware of our business than I realized. He knows how this thing works. So I'm going to give him how about you for that?
Oh,
there you go.
You?
Oh, Eli. Well, you already got one of mine. I only had 3 tonight.
Okay.
Carnell's and Escalade was one.
Okay.
Toby Tiger gets one from me. And then a special one from a proud dad today. My kiddo graduated from preschool. So Wyatt Head, how about you?
Wyatt Head.
Yeah, man.
Does he have a wide head?
He does not have a wide head. Thank God.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I couldn't help it. You just lofted it up there for me.
I know I did. Thank God he looks more like his mother than he does like his dad.
Jeffrey, don't you know he's got that J head cut? You know he does.
He does have a little fade going on.
There you go.
All right.
It looks good. I know it does.
How about you to Freezing 10 for a POW and our question tonight? He's been on fire. Freezing 10. How about you, big dog? How about you to Mountain Hunter 56?
Yeah, that's a good one. Make that times 2 for me, please.
All right. Mountain Hunter 56 times 2, big dog. How about you to Z Money NC? I think how about you to him not too long ago?
He had a good week.
He had a great week. How about you to Cliffs Dwellers 91?
Yeah.
Finally, how about you to Christian Clemente from 24/7 and Caleb Jones from Rivals? How about you to those? I watched their videos again today, dude.
Oh, yeah.
That was awesome.
Bro, Caleb's video made me just die because I watched it.
Oh, my God.
Hilarious.
Caleb, Christian took a video of me for all you that didn't listen Sunday night. He took a video of me throwing a football Sunday at camp. And then Caleb took that video and made a cut up of me throwing an interception. It was awesome. Good fellas, man. I always enjoy working with them. Good fellas.
Yeah.
Christian Clemente and Caleb Jones. How about you fellas?
For sure.
All right, that's going to do it. That'll wrap it up tonight. We will be back. Don't forget, Auburn Live on 3. We've got visitor in town now, Donovan Starr. He'll be leaving Thursday. Then we've got several guys, at least 4 we know of, coming in on Friday, and then
Yep.
Monday's coming. I think what I say 6 coming in Monday. At least more could be added to that list. Keep an eye out for Auburn Live on 3. Start tracking it all with us. AU1, 2 months for $1. Don't forget, if you're in or around Auburn, Opelika, Lee County, you want to looking for a home, looking for some real estate needs, look no further for the help you need. Miss Jessica Andrews with the Talents Group. Give her a call, 334-704-4442. She is a 5-star realtor. If you don't believe me, just ask me. Tell her we tell her we sent you. All right, folks, that's going to do it, man. We appreciate everybody listening. We appreciate everybody watching. For Mr. Cole Pinkston, Mr. Allen Head, Mr. Zach in the back. I'm Jeffrey Lee, man. Y'all stay in that left lane. See ya.